Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. And welcome to Saturday's edition of the DCEU Daily. So yesterday there were big rumours that James Wan, Warner Brothers and DC and Walter Hamada were developing a Trench spin-off from Aquaman. Yes, an Aquaman spin-off which would focus on the Trench we saw in the Aquaman movie. So everybody's favourite Disney shill, Scott Mendelsohn, started talking about this, saying this is going to be like what they've done with The Conjuring and creating other kind of spin-offs and things like that. And so James Wan kind of replied to that and said he was fascinated with the Trench when he first kind of saw it in the DC comics when he was researching Aquaman. He's neither confirming or denying that this is happening. That's interesting because when you get to a rumour and a creative response to it and they say, I'm neither confirming or denying, that means it's most probably going to happen in some form eventually. I would think the focus has to be the Aquaman sequel, but there is no reason why they can't do this. It'll be interesting if James Wan would actually direct this movie, so that would be very interesting. But I don't know much about the Trench. I can't really remember much about the kind of concept either in the film because, it was a while back I saw Aquaman. So should we just read about this and see what the Trench is all about? The Trench first appeared in Aquaman Volume 7, 1, November 2011. Wow, that wasn't that long ago, was it? And were created by Jeff Johns. There you go then. It's September 2011. The New 52 had rebooted DC's continuity. Johns introduced the Trench into this new timeline, making them antagonistics in the Aquaman series. Fictional biography. In their first appearance, the Trench are seen attacking a town and killing, eating and destroying many of the inhabitants. It is revealed that the Trench had been inhabitants of Atlantis before that continent was destroyed and submerged by Atlan, the dead king. Only 3 major groups of old Atlantis survived that event, including Aquaman's Atlanteans, the main group to continue in Atlantis, as well as appearance that differed from the Atlanteans, Exilibans in the Bermuda Triangle, and the Trench, who were thrown deep into Mariana's Trench. They were adapted traits and powers. In Justice League Volume 2 storyline, The Throne of Atlantis, the Trench attack the Atlanteans, human surface dwellers, and the Justice League after Aquaman's friend and mentor Volcom uses the dead King Skeptor to control the Trench. This was part of a deadly yet successful bid by Volcom to make Aquaman take on the role of King of the Atlanteans. So this is kind of interesting, isn't it? And if you read on, it says the Trench appear in 2018's American superhero film Aquaman, which we already know. So that is very, very interesting. So the Trench is a concept that you could certainly turn into a movie, a very interesting movie. Of course, it's meant, Wan has got this experience with horror, and he's trying to bring horror to the DC universe. There's nothing wrong with that. The DC universe, in its comics, in its graphic novels, has plenty of horror. So some people, as usual, angry with any news or any rumours, need to chill out, need to calm down. The DCEU going forward will be a very expansive franchise. And you're just going to have to get used to it. You're going to have to look forward instead of backwards. This has no relevance to the Snyder Cut, whether it happens or it won't happen. I'm still telling you it will happen, but whether it happens or not, that's the way forward and that's the way back. Just because you get the Snyder Cut doesn't mean all of a sudden Zack Snyder comes back and starts directing DCEU movies, or him and Deb start running the franchise. That's gone. That's finished. Unfortunately, sadly for everyone, we must move forward, and I'm excited. I think seeing a Trench battle, seeing the Trench kind of being in its own film would be very, very interesting. How you make it into a film, that's why James Wan's getting paid all the money he is, and we're having to pay James Wan. But as I said to James Wan on Twitter, James, you can take my money now, because anything that these people do for the DCEU, for me, is exciting and is the right move. James Wan knows what he's doing. He's just directed a $1 billion+ movie. If he wants to do a trench movie, he's going to do a trench movie, and I'm really, really excited about it. So let's go back to Henry Cavill. All this week there have been rumours about Henry Cavill. So I just want to go into this a bit more, what I discussed yesterday. So there was another test screening where people say there is a cameo, a Superman cameo in Shazam, but it's not Henry Cavill. It's literally, you just see a body double, you see the insignia, and that's it. So is this true? No, it's not true. It's not true, and let me tell you why it's not true, because there's just no way you can break the agreement of a test screening without being majorly sued. Unless the studio say, you can say that, let's get the buzz up. So we'll see. I don't think it's true. I could be proven wrong. Again, I did see a test screening. I never saw this, but I saw one of the really, really early test screenings where, a lot of things were left out. So I could be wrong and they could be right. But as I say, I don't trust people like Revenge of the Fans, Mario Vobles. I don't trust we've got this covered. They got jack shit covered. I think the best thing to do in this situation is wait to see what happens. I think there is a real possibility that they're going to slip in there a Henry Cavill Superman cameo. This would be the biggest shot in the arm for the DCEU. The $1 billion+ that Aquaman made in theatres across the world was the biggest shot in the arm you can get. But having Henry Cavill's Superman in this film would be one of the most amazing things, and it's perfect for this film. We know the characters look up to Superman in this film. We know there's newspaper clippings and varied amounts of Easter eggs in Shazam. So let's do this. Let's have a cameo of Henry Cavill in the Shazam movie. It's what everyone wants to see. Let's stop hearing about this nonsense that he's left, that he wants money, blah, 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 blah. That's not happening. A bit un-DCEU related, actually, just before I go. I couldn't sleep at all with my mum being in critical condition in hospital. So I watched the old extended cut of the Green Lantern movie. I actually enjoy that film. I enjoy it. Some of the special effects are slightly ropey, but it looks amazing. It looks amazing. The planets look amazing. The Guardians look amazing. Yes, the Green Lantern suit was an issue. They hadn't perfected CGI back then. Yeah, I get that. But it's actually quite a good movie. There's elements of the film that they kind of got wrong. But you know what? It's not a bad movie. And it's actually quite a good superhero movie. And what they've got, the concept of, where the Lanterns are from, the Guardians, and all of that. I think they got that totally right. And I think that would have been amazing. That was out before any DCEU, before any DCEU film came out. But that was before the MCU. And that superhero film, a DC superhero film, was the first superhero film to have a post-credit scene. And it was one of the most awesome post-credit scenes you'll ever see. That could have been a great franchise and universe, and it would have been DC leading the way in superhero movies. But alas, it didn't work out. But we're here now, and despite Marvel leading the way, yes, leading the way, it is DC with a mixture of films that have taken risks, that have actually made more money in their first 6 movies globally than the MCU did. So it's very, very interesting. So if the DCEU can continue to expand their franchise, we could overtake the MCU, and I think we will.